Here's my review of Suncoast. This is a pretty good, this is actually quite a good movie where it's about a girl named Doris where she's striking an unlikely bond with this man because the whole point of this movie is so her brother is in this medical situation where he is practically paralyzed. And it's a very sad movie, but it's one of those movies where it's kind of just sweet, because a lot of it is sometimes this guy who played by Woody Harrelson, who's almost trying to get her to appreciate more stuff, and he's saying how that she's gonna miss like her brother once he's gone, even though she says that she's not. And it's a very sad movie, but it is quite good. You see like how the toll that like her brother kind of can take on her, where he has to she always has to push him around, and it's one of those things like it just makes you just very sad. And I'd say this is a sad movie, but I think that this is still a movie where you could watch and you still you get a lot out of it. You're like, you know what, that was sweet, that was endearing. It's one of those movies, And then a lot of this movie is her hanging out with all these girls at this school where because her mom's at the hospital with her brother, and it's a lot of it is a big part of her ends up hanging out with the wrong people, and kind of this peer pressure. It's a movie where you kind of know where it's gonna go, but it's also, you still end up feeling like you're kind of anticipating it, even though you kind of know what's gonna happen. That's why this movie kind of feels so hard to talk about when it's just kind of such depressing subject matter. It's just kind of, but at the end, it's a movie you feel sad at the end, but you still feel kind of good. And a lot of this movie kind of works because of the interactions between our characters. I mean, Woody Harrelson is just great in everything, and there's no exception here. He's great in this too. And this is a movie, like I said, it's very sad, but there's also quite a bit of funny moments, especially with Woody Harrelson's character. And I think that it's if he wasn't in it, it's a movie where it's you wouldn't want to watch this movie at all because he's not in it that much, but it's a movie where if he wasn't in it, it would just be kind of just too depressing, It's one of those. He's kind of the anchor to kind of keeps it all together. And a lot of this movie is also her who, when she's just home alone because her mother's in the hospital with her brother, she's getting involved with all these people and doing these things that she shouldn't do, wearing these skimpy clothes and then getting kind of bashed for it by her mom, rightfully so. And then Woody Harrelson is basically our voice of reason, and it's the interactions between them that make this movie good. And this is a movie where I feel its general message is the idea of, because a lot of the whole times we're kind of hearing how she says that she's gonna be relieved when her brother passes away, and then Woody Harrelson to kind of say how, no, you're not, because you will miss him. You might think you won't, but you will. And how it's a movie where it's kind of a life is precious movie. And I think it's the idea of kind of being, I guess what they're going for is maybe being more grateful for what you have, because it can be worse. And the idea is that you just kind of try to enjoy your life as much as you can. I think that's what it was going for. And I thought that this was just a really good movie. I mean, the main problem, not really a problem with itself, but it's a movie you wouldn't really want to rewatch it because it's just a sad movie. But I thought that it was very well done. I really enjoyed our characters here. I do think that at certain times the mom, it just seems very overbearing and kind of unlikable, which you understand why that is. But doesn't really, she's still quite unlikable. But I do think that this is a pretty good movie. Like I said, it's sad, but I think that overall I thought it was a very solid, very good film.